Well, everybody, thank you for being here today. I'm really excited to interview one of our global customers here in the enterprise space today in Intercom. I'm going to be introducing Pascaline Albin, who is the head of global sales development for their team across many different regions. Let's welcome her in here today. Pascaline, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, EJ.
Of course, glad to have you. And normally you are based out of Ireland, but you're actually traveling this weekend. You're in San Francisco, is that
I
right?
am indeed sunny San Francisco. Absolutely. Yes.
There you go. You getting out enjoying the sunshine or are you packed with meetings?
Packed with meetings. Not a lot of enjoying outside, but next time. Next time.
Very cool. Well, we're really excited to have you here. I think most people, want to understand, obviously how you became customers and what that process was like. But before we dive in, just what kind of led to the evaluation of Nooks as you looked at it with leaders, your team, the business? Yeah, what kind of just led into like, hey, we should probably look at some more software that can help us.
Literally, when I joined Intercom, I had a mission to scale our outbound motion. And as I actually got to see how the team was working, it became obvious that we needed to modernize our phone strategy. Otherwise, we are going to create a bottleneck. So when I say we needed to modernize our phone strategy, it's more we needed to make more quality and quantity of calls. And that became very obvious that it was the main strategy that will lead us to actually scale our outbound motion. So phone has always been our number one conversion channel. And I know a lot of people say phone is dead. It's not. It's very much alive. And that's where we actually get most of our pipeline from. So when we connect, we convert. But the issue was not really the belief in the channel, but the performance. We had connect rates below 4%, which is not industry best practice, I would say. We were manually dialing every prospect. And the experience we had was just not built for high volume, high velocity outbound. The managers had very limited visibility into live calls. Coaching was super reactive. We didn't really have any real-time analysis, no structure way, up-level the call quality at scale. It felt very isolating, specifically post-COVID. The team actually was used to be calling at home, not in a group. And yeah, it didn't really generate an environment where they felt they could actually thrive and enjoy calling as well.
Yeah, there was obviously a lot of challenges there that you broke down, right? I think first and foremost, you lead a team of some of, typically the hardest working individuals at a company, right? They say the SDR, BDR role, whatever acronym we want to use these days. A lot of kudos to everybody, but like picking up the phone and calling strangers is difficult. And I do think, how we think about Nooks, and we'll dive into this a little bit, but just putting them in a position to be comfortable is like the first challenge that we hear, especially as I run a lot of these discovery calls, is putting them in the spot where they're comfortable making the calls and then confident in the calls. And in a remote world, how can they do that with their teammates and learn? You mentioned, getting visibility. So that always seems like a big piece. But remind me, you guys kind of had more of a manual approach before working with Nooks, right? So you guys kind of were doing the add a prospect in the sequence, doing like the click to dial, doing one at a time. Is that correct?
That's exactly correct. Yes. And waiting for
Yeah.
someone to pick up and then move on to the next one.
So as we kind of transition here, Pascaline, a little bit, kind of, okay, you noticed there was a problem. What did you do with that problem? Did you take it to like RevOps? Did you take it to higher leadership, or did you go and start to just like outsource and look at things, by yourself first? What did that look like that kind of led to the evaluation?
Yes, so we worked actually with RevOps to identify first. So the first step was to identify some suitable vendors based on what we were looking for. So again, there are a number of functionalities we were looking at, trying to explore parallel dialing, making sure we have more real-time coaching, and a solution that will help us actually ultimately increase call connect meetings and pipeline. So I went to RevOps. We started looking online like most, I would say, buyers will do right now, trying to identify best-in-class solutions and starting having some initial calls to make sure that from an integration perspective and the tool capabilities, we could narrow down to 2 or 3 vendors we wanted to trial and explore further. And actually, what happened is we ended up selecting Nooks and another vendor and decided then to run back-to-back trials of those 2 solutions in order to figure out which one was the most suitable for the team.
I love that. So it seems like you took it to RevOps. You guys kind of dummied it down to we want to look at 3 different vendors to kind of help us in this realm, speed up the process, help with connect rates, get the team more comfortable dialing. You chose 2 vendors. I'm assuming the other one is, you know, one of our top competitors in the parallel
That's
dialer
correct.
space.
I'm not gonna name
Yeah.
any names.
That's fine. That's fine. All good. I think people can take a hint there for sure. And full respect to them, of course. But I guess like as you trialed both, maybe just what were some of the feedback, some of the differences? We can obviously talk about some of the metrics I have here and what you saw with Nook specifically. But what was the feedback from yourself, the team, as you kind of compared the two?
Yes, and it was actually very important that the team felt excited and bought into the solution that we were going to choose. So we started off with the Nooks trial, and very much the impact was immediate and measurable. So we saw a 70% increase in the average dials per rep per day. Our call connect rates doubled, and that was very much from the first week we started the trial. And more importantly, like we saw, and it's mind blowing, like 160% increase in meetings we created from cold calling. So I would say the initial trial when we ended after 3 weeks was extremely positive. The feedback from the team was overwhelming. I actually had reps coming to me seeing if they could be in the trial, which usually doesn't happen, specifically when you're trying a tool where you're encouraging the team to be a bit more on the phone. Sometimes there is a bit of skepticism there, but the team was super bought in. And then we started right away the second trial, and very much we had to stop it early. After 2 weeks, the team felt like the UI was actually not working for them. It was making phones and conversation, like we didn't see any conversion. And like from a number perspective and from the feedback we were getting from the team, they just wanted to get back to Nooks as quickly as possible. So we actually stopped the trial early and just decided to make the call and go for Nooks, because we could actually show the ROI very clearly. I think we had 5 reps globally. So we had 1 in APAC, 2 in EMEA, and 2 in EMEA, and we could see like the same results across the board. So like it was a proof that the tool could scale globally and could have a meaningful impact in terms of pipeline for us.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing your story there. And I think a big piece to call out, right, as you know, I lead a lot of discussions here, and I think there's a lot more global SDR teams, right, that we're talking to. And so you mentioned obviously like during the trial, right, pretty some amazing metrics, right? We talk about 160% for meetings created, an increase in 60% of dials per day, connect rates doubled at 110%. A lot of people ask me when we go through this, like, hey, what does this look like now that, you know, I'm a customer for 6 months or coming up on renewal? What does that look like? I know you have the privilege of working with Hunter, who's on our CS team, and you got a good one in him for sure. But like, you know, talk to the people just about like, what has the experience been coming on as a customer? Do you still see some of these same results? Has the volume from the trial also been indicative of like what you're seeing now? Would love to kind of just hear how things have been as a customer.
Yes, and so we have definitely actually even seen more improvements in the metrics I shared. I think we're at 206% of meetings booked in the first quarter. Actually, we've been using Nooks across the team. And one of the question mark I had is during the trial, we had some of our top performing reps actually in the trial. And I was wondering whether we will see the same type of results with the rest of the team, which we have definitely. So the ROI is not to be questioned here. We are still seeing we have maintained the same call connect rates, and I would say what's stopping us right now is more internally. We need to be a bit smarter still on how can we make more calls and make sure we have call list and get the team to even double the volume of call activities they do to keep seeing more increase in pipeline. It's very much, I think it has made us question how we were working our processes and changing some of the sequencing. We had to be more call heavy than just email heavy, and that required a bit of a transformation as well for us. And I think we could probably double that if we manage to remove a lot of the email admin work that the team needs to do to very much focus on the phone and get the result there. So from that perspective, numbers are still great. They could even be better. But what really stood out is the onboarding experience we had and how structured and high touch it was from day one. So you mentioned Hunter. It's been actually exceptional from day one. He literally clearly defined our onboarding plan. It's quite unique to have a dedicated CSM that's aligned to our goals and who partners with us, challenge us, anticipate some of the questions we have. I think one of the game changer as well is to have like a Slack-based support, whereas whether it's a manager or rep, you can ask a question, get tickets created quickly, or have someone actually come back right away with an answer, meaning that, any kind of question the team has, we don't have on our side to be too involved and hands-on from a vendor support perspective. It's all a bit of a self-serve operation, which works really well. And we've got very clear and regular best practice sharing and check-ins as well. So yeah, the ramp like literally has been extremely quick. It took only a couple of weeks to get everybody to use the tool. And yeah, it was more for us to make sure we structure call blocks. We set up those live coach rooms and we could track. And I think we're still not fully using all the analytics and AI coaching we could do right now. So there's still more to happen in the next few months.
Yeah, well, very, very exciting. Thank you for sharing that, Pascaline. I know Hunter is excited about, each QBR that you guys go into and, do recaps. I know you guys have, that recurring cadence on the calendar, which I think goes to show for like a good partnership and staying in tune to your business and the changes as a lot of fun and exciting things happening over there at Intercom, which we'll also get to here in a second. You mentioned one piece, Pascaline, that was obviously like part of the package. It was really important to you as you think about up-leveling the skill set of your reps. And that was like the coaching and role play bots. I know you're pretty passionate about those. Maybe just like at a quick high level, like how have those been impactful for your reps, but also even for you as like the head, of global sales development, looking at teams in a lot of different regions?
Yeah, so we've been actually using those bots as part of progression programs we have from SDR to BDR and BDR to AE. So part of the program is to actually, it's based on the scoring they get with some of the bots. So we're encouraging them. It doesn't feel quite natural yet. I have to say. And we have to encourage the team to use them, but it's part of our onboarding plans, it's part of our progression plan. So still, we have they should be part of the routine. Every week, we should get the team feeling comfortable practicing through the bots. But usually we've seen it's more either new hires or more tenured reps using them as part of their development program. But where I still see a lot of value is on all the scorecards we have, where we can literally see how effective the reps are in specific aspects of the call, is the call opener, objection handling, do they use customer stories? So having all that insight and being able to use it to coach the rep on an individual basis has been extremely powerful for the managers.
Thank you for sharing your story, what led you to Nooks, the evaluation process, and obviously where you are today. And before we wrap, obviously a lot of exciting, fun things. I know your team is growing as you continue to add seats to the tool. But tell the people what's happening at Intercom today. What are you guys working on? Is your team growing? Should people be applying to Intercom? What's the latest that's happening in your world?
Yes, so we're in the growth phase, and I'm actually in San Francisco now to onboard a new team. We're setting up here with new SDRs, BDRs, and managers. So very much like we're seeing a lot of opportunity on the AI agent market at the moment. So yes, we are building out and expanding our enterprise motion as well, and so we're scaling with headcount, but we want to be efficient as well, and that's why we keep on exploring tools like Nooks to see how we can scale without adding too many headcounts as well. So we are very much looking on how can we automate our outbound motion, do more signal-based outbound, and keep working on AI-driven workflows and operational excellence. So we've actually just created a new role, an AI growth program manager within the sales dev organization that's helping us optimize some of the outbound tools we have and set up an automated signal-based motion to help the BDRs to get some hot accounts and leads sent to them. So that's very much the direction we're taking on trying to see how we can make pipeline growth a bit more predictable and build a very scalable and sustainable motion.
Well, you said it right there. I mean, people should obviously be very interested, obviously, where AI is going today, but what you guys are doing at Intercom, it's very special. The team is growing. You have open headcount in different regions as well. So depending on who's watching this, right, don't sit back and relax. Like definitely get your outreach, reach out to Pascaline and the team at Intercom to get that opportunity. And Pascaline, I'm sure as a head of global sales development, you do get hit up by SDRs all the time. I have to imagine, right? Obviously, we talked about how important the phone channel is for your group and how that lands well. But if an SDR were to catch you on the phone or write you an email or LinkedIn, I guess, like, what do you recommend for someone who wants to reach out and try to set up a meeting with you as they think about what works from an SDR perspective?
Yeah, so from my perspective, it's all about relevance and timing. My preferred way is via LinkedIn. So I am responsive on LinkedIn. I do not pick up the phone, and I know it's terrible. I should be showing.
Come on.
So no, if you try to reach me on my phone, I will not pick up. If you leave a voicemail, though, I might listen to it, and if your voicemail is catchy and aligned to my priorities, I might actually pick up the phone next time you call. But very much is so like some of the outreach that have made a difference are the one where that's very much relevant. So I have a ton of information on my LinkedIn profile. I try to post a lot, so it's fairly obvious what my priorities are and what my challenges are as well. So I will usually respond to outreach where I see that BDR on AE has made an effort to do some research, look at what's important to me, and be a bit unique as well. So if you have a unique angle, like, have a bit of fun. I've received an outreach where there were some connection to movies I actually watched recently, so I don't know how that person got that information.
Oh my gosh.
That was pretty freakish, but that made me.
Did you take the meeting?
I actually, so I didn't take it, but I forwarded it to one of my managers who took the meeting for me. So yes,
Okay.
I actually forwarded it. There was a GIF as well. It was very quirky, but more importantly, like they were talking about one of the aspects that was top of mind for me was around data quality, etc. So that's what made me. So that unique angle, someone who understood my role, they had a point of view as to how they could help, and yeah, their outreach was quite intriguing and funny. So that made me engage with them. Yeah.
That's awesome. We just had our on-site and kickoff in San Francisco this past week. We brought on some other customers, and I think someone asked that same question. It's interesting you said voicemails. I think a lot of people don't drop voicemails, but it's interesting, as you think about that, where if it is unique or catchy or relevant, I heard you say that word a few times, maybe you're more inclined to go back to that email or that LinkedIn, right? If you saw that name or that person. So obviously within Nooks as well, you can leave those automated voicemails, which can be huge. So very exciting. Well, Pascaline, thank you so much. Really appreciate the time. Always good to see you. As always, if you need anything, please don't hesitate to, reach out. But for everybody who watched and tuned in today, thank you for joining and watching this session. You heard from Pascaline. If you're trying to get a meeting with her, relevance is the key word. So if you want to win the next raffle prize, comment relevance down below, and you'll be on the short list for the upcoming prize in the next episode. Pascaline, thank you, and we'll see you later.
Jay.